As you can see, here are all of them, the people are young. They need a comfortable, peace life.
There's nothing quite like having Anna play your mother. It's a somewhat surreal moment of my life, I have to say.
It is not about being able to sing. It's about the support and the friendship.
More people should listen to comedians and fewer people should listen to politicians.
All along this part of the border there are sites like this. Even though it's been clear for 3 days that the border with Europe will not be opened, they still come just in case. And that's the thing, many of them here are migrants who had actually begun to settle in Turkey, but dropped everything when they were told the border was open, thinking Europe would be better. 22-year-old Omid Mohammadi is from Afghanistan. How long have you been in Turkey?
It's about 2 or 3 years. I have been here. The UNHCR, they have given us a kimlik card, and they cancel it. We cannot go to hospital. We cannot find for ourselves a normal good. We cannot rent a home, and we are compelled from here to go to Europe.
So have you been into Greece in the past 2 days?
No. We passed the border. They send us back.
The Greeks?
Yeah, the Greek soldiers.
And what did they do to you?
Yeah.
What did the Greek soldiers do?
They just gas firing. And they took all the cell phones and the clothes plus the foods. They sent back us without anything. Yeah. They are playing with us. Turkey government and the Greece government, they are playing with us such as a football game. They are passing us to right, left. Now we are having with ourselves the 3 months child, 3 months. Even she didn't complete her 3 months. Where is the humanitarian? We are that humans that they are saying that we are helping the human beings that needing help. We escaped from Afghanistan we don't like terrorism, we don't like the target killing, so we escaped from there to here to go to Europe to get a better life, to get education, to live such a human beings. But now we are here. I don't know what to do. We are not having the chance to go back or to forward. We are now like a jail. Here is like a jail for us. We don't like to stand in Greece. We want to pass. We want to pass the Greece. We want to go to the country that they need us. They need us. We don't like to want free money. We will go there. We will get education. We will work hard. We will improve there. We will also work with them together. They should accept us as a human. That we can be in a safe place. That is our demands, that everybody demands. As you can see, here are all of them, the people are young. All of them are young. Why they are trying to pass the borders? They need a comfortable, peace life.
A new film out this week, Sulfur and White, is based on the true story of city trader and mountaineer David Tate.
The story reveals how his professional success masks a series of traumatic secrets as he struggles to come to terms with abuse he experienced during his childhood. This is part of the film.
Sit.
Mum?
Sit.
Well, David is now an NSPCC ambassador. Joins us here in the studio, along with Hugo Stone, who you just saw in the film, who played him as a 10-year-old. Great to see you both here. David, the key message from this film that you come away with is how many children who are abused just don't tell anybody. Why did you not feel able to tell for so many, many years?
A combination of shame and fear, to be honest. Fear of my father at an early stage, that I would be accused of being a thief. He was a pretty strict disciplinarian. And then in latter years, as I got older, and ironically understood what it was, it became a shame element.
What do you say, David?
Part of this quest is to try and turn the tables on the perpetrators in the back of my mind, and also destigmatise the gross issues, all of them, in one go.
Beer should be coming out soon.
Joanne! McDonald!
What did it feel like playing this part? It's quite a sad part.
At the time, I didn't have much of an idea of what the subject matter was, but when we finished filming, a year later, I was told what really happened as David, as a child, and it made me think that this movie means so much more to children who should open up. And I feel like this movie could really help children in need if it just goes around to the right people.
Because you've got big names associated with it. You've got Anna Friel, we saw, and Dougray Scott in that clip there. So these are people that are money spinners for the box offices.
Absolutely. They also wanted to do the part because of what it was as well, which is always a great advantage. There's nothing quite like having Anna Friel play your mother. It's a somewhat surreal moment of my life, I have to say. Among
your friends, is there an awareness about what to do if something happens to you as a child that you feel uncomfortable with?
We had a childline ambassador, I think, came in an assembly, and they taught us what some children go through and what Childline does to help them.
Education is the first part, and then prevention is hard, but doable. But at the same time, destigmatisation is perhaps the biggest, I think, way we can move these chess pieces forward.
Buying a pet from a puppy or kitten farm could cost owners an extra £5,000 a year, according to a new study. And today, a government campaign has been launched, urging the public to spot red flags before bringing their furry friend into the family. Claire Calder, Head of Public Affairs at Dogs Trust, and Bruce, the French Bulldog, are with me in the studio. Hello to you both. Hello, Claire. Hello, Bruce. So this is a campaign about pet fishing. Claire, what is pet fishing?
So the government today has launched a campaign warning people how to avoid being pet fished. So essentially buying a pet, so a puppy or a kitten, where everything isn't quite as it seems. So for example, if you're buying a pet via an online advert, helping people to identify the red flags that they need to avoid in order to avoid buying a puppy that might have been illegally imported into the country or might have been bred in really poor conditions.
Tell us about Bruce.
So Bruce is 16 months old. He was sadly illegally imported into the country as a puppy. He came from Bulgaria and was seized at the borders for being underage when he was imported.
And that's the case a lot of the time, isn't it, that people think they're buying an animal that may be 8, 10 weeks, and actually they're a lot less. They're being taken away from their mothers very early.
Yeah, so actually to come into the country legally from an EU country, puppies should be 15 weeks old.
Right.
And Bruce was much younger than that. He was very underweight when he came into the country. So there's lots that people can do. It's just so important to do your research before you decide to get a puppy in the first place.
And those red flags
Absolutely.
that people need to be aware of are what?
So red flags would be, for example, if you're looking at an online advert, really simple things you can do, like copying and pasting the contact number for the seller and seeing if it appears in other adverts and other sites. It's really,
so they might be advertising multiple litters, for example?
Absolutely, that would be a perfect example of a red flag. As well, it's really, really important to go and see the puppy and its mum in the home environment that it was bred in. If they don't let you see the mum, if they don't let you visit more than once or see the puppy with its mum, that's a real red flag. Do lots of research, ask lots of questions. If the breeder seems suspicious in any way or is putting pressure on you, the best thing to do is walk away and report them.
So ultimately, you're saying to people, trust your instincts.
Absolutely.
When you're looking for an animal, do your research, because otherwise the cost could be quite significant.
Yeah, so the press release that was issued by the government today did a survey of vets and showed that some vets have seen vet bills of upwards of £5,000 for people that have inadvertently been deceived by these unscrupulous sellers. So it can be a huge cost for buyers, but also just absolutely heartbreaking if you're choosing a new member of your family to find that they've got health issues or long-term behavioural issues. Just absolutely heartbreaking.
Now, you will no doubt recognise my next guest from her TV role in Emmerdale, but there's another part of her life that she wants to talk about too. Gemma ODonnell battled with anorexia for 13 years. The eating disorder left her so weak that it brought on a heart attack while she was still a teenager, and she joins me now. You have mercifully got through your illness, but you were very sick for some years, weren't you?
Yeah, my anorexia developed at the age of just 10 years old, and my mum and dad took me to the doctor, who turned me away because I wasn't low enough in weight to have a problem, or so they deemed. Unfortunately, I was left on a waiting list, and the referral kept coming and kept getting cancelled. And before I knew it, I was admitted to a children's psychiatric unit and told if I didn't eat or drink within 24 hours, I'd be dead. And that battle with anorexia lasted for 13 years, and I'm very fortunate and well now, but I campaign heavily so that no children or adults have to go through the hell that my family did.
I know a little bit about this because my daughter, of course,
and we've talked about it together.
We have talked about it many times. But the thing is, and mercifully she's, you know, got better, but the thing is, the figures are alarming.
Yeah, in the last 2 years alone, the admissions into hospitals have increased by 37%. So as we talked about earlier, that means that people are getting to life-critical level.
So this is admission into A&E?
Yeah, into hospitals.
Units,
yeah. Not to eating disorder units, to A&E.
Did you find it difficult to get the treatment you needed when you needed it?
My mum and dad had to fight tooth and nail constantly over and over to get funding for me to go into eating disorder units, and it would be a case of I'd go into an eating disorder unit, I'd get fed up, the treatment wasn't there for me psychologically, and I'd get shipped out. And sometimes when I wasn't even ready, the funding, mum would get a call on a Friday to say the funding's run out, you need to come and get her, she's coming home on Monday. It has been a constant battle.
Well, I was talking to some people today who are still suffering from trying to get an appointment. One woman I spoke to this morning said that she's got a letter saying that it's 20 months before she can get even an appraisal, assessment.
Yeah, people are needing to get onto death's door to be able to get help. Where is the logic in that? Where is the humanity in that? Like, and the thing is, I have been talking openly since I got Emmerdale for the last 10 years, and I've been patron of my parents' wonderful charity Seed, which is support and empathy for eating disorders. And I've been talking about this for 10 years, and although there are slight improvements, it's still not enough.
Sometimes when I think of her name, when it's only a game, and I need you.
Military Wives tells the story of a group of women who became a media sensation and a global movement. Faced with the absence of their partners who were serving on various tours, including Afghanistan, the women formed a choir on a military base. They were followed by groups across the world, and their story has now been given the Hollywood treatment. Let's have a look.
Are you going to be okay when I'm gone?
It's my 5th tour. Of course I will.
I've got to go.
I'm Kate Barclay, Colonel Barclay's wife. Let's come up with some exciting activities to do while our service people are away.
What about singing?
Singing?
Let's just get the strippers in. This singing club is going to be a lot of fun and uplifting, and there'll be a few beers afterwards.
Women who share that story are Sharon Wigley, Sarah Preston and Joanne Milthorpe, who join me now. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hello.
The Military Wives Choir is such a global phenomenon. So many people know your story. Do they do it justice on the big screen?
Yeah, I think they do. There's quite a few bits that it definitely catapulted me back to a time and place I'm not in anymore. So that it's raw emotion, but there's various things they've got us. So our first performance for the choir programme, we were in the pannier market in Barnstaple, and the ladies do that in the movie as well.
How much of a support was it for you? Because your son was a Royal Marine and was killed in Afghanistan. How much was that network vital for you?
When I first lost my son, you know, there were people who would say things like, well, I didn't think things like that really happened. But to go and join a choir where there are women who know exactly where I'm coming from and why sometimes I'll just stand there and mouth words and not sing. It is not about being able to sing. Enjoying singing, because singing is really good for you, it's a great stress buster. But it's about the support and the friendship. Yeah.
And long may it continue.
Nearly 9 years since the death of the musician Amy Winehouse, and today the name of the 27-year-old is being added to the Music Walk of Fame in Camden.
There's also a fundraising event that's taking place for the Amy Winehouse Foundation. It's a charity which aims to prevent the effects of drug and alcohol misuse on young people. Joining us now is Amy's father, Mitch, and mother, Janice. It does 3 different things, doesn't it, I understand, part of which is Amy's Place, which provides a sanctuary, it's hoped, for vulnerable young women. Tell us how that works.
It's a recovery house for women who are in recovery and who, after coming out of rehab, still struggling with their issues. They've got nowhere to go, and so they can stay with us at Amy's Place for up to 2 years. And it's an absolutely incredible project, and we're very proud of it.
It's 9 years since Amy died. As you look back on that time, some people have to pinch themselves and struggle to believe it's almost a decade since she died. What's the legacy that you hope she's left behind?
The music legacy will take care of itself, but again, as we said, there's so much more. You know, our schools project in the last 3 years, the people who run our schools project, who are primarily, they're all in recovery. They've addressed over 300,000 young people, not only about alcohol and drugs, but other things that affect young people today. What happened was a terrible blow, not only for the family, but for all of her fans and everybody. And yet I think that she will be very pleased about the positive outcomes that we're getting at the moment.
What kind of lessons do you think we can draw from the way Amy's demons ultimately saw her and her musical talent ended so cruelly at such a young age?
What we've learned, what I know is that as a family, we tried to protect Amy in the best way that we could, but we didn't know what we were doing. And so, not that it would have made any difference. I mean, we tried to protect Amy in the best way that we can. But I think the important thing is through our schools project, is to teach people how to be able to speak to their parents and how parents to speak to their children, so that they're able to have serious conversations rather than screaming and shouting, which is basically what we had a lot of the time.
Now to a former shipyard apprentice who became a national treasure. Billy Connolly has told Sky News that he is definitely finished with stand-up, despite having expressed an interest to one day return to the stage. He was speaking to our arts and entertainment correspondent, Lucy Cotter.
Just tell me about this artwork. I mean, not everyone will know you for an artist. How did it all come about?
It's very strange. It's very nice, I must say. I started a few years ago when I was on tour in Canada. I was miserable in the cold, and I went to an art shop across from the hotel in Montreal, and I bought a sketchbook. I'd never drawn before. I bought a sketchbook and started to draw abstract, like islands, little islands in the sea. It was just a hobby. And here we are. And it's lovely to wallow in it.
So we won't see you back on stage, will we?
No. No, it's the Parkinson has made my brain work differently. And you need a good brain for comedy. You need to, everything you say should have 5 or 6 alternatives behind it. You'd say something and then attack it from behind and let the story make itself up. And it's a madly exciting thing to do. This story is taking place and you don't know where it's going. And it's a delight, it's a privilege to be part of it.
Despite the fact that you've been very public about having Parkinson's, you don't seem to be slowing down.
I don't think it's a good idea to slow down. I have ideas and gross opinions on it. I don't think you should let Parkinson's define you. I just do my life. And if my hand's too shaky, I don't draw. And I'll draw later when it stops shaking.
Have you been surprised at how much you can achieve and how your life can kind of continue despite the diagnosis?
I'm surprised and delighted that the ideas I had were right, that you can do anything you please. And I hope little schoolboys and school leavers are watching me doing these things and say you can do what you like. You can write plays, you can write songs, you can be funny on stage, you can play the banjo, you can do drawings, you can say and do what you like, and people will listen. And sometimes it'll get you in trouble, but that's okay. Some things are meant to get you in trouble. Sometimes being in trouble is a good thing. It points out the badness in something that should be changed. More people should listen to comedians, and fewer people should listen to politicians.